Now let's look at the use of the when the noun is representing a class. We use the when the noun is representing a class. For example, the dog is a faithful animal. Now we are not talking about any specific dog or a dog, we are talking about dog as a class. So the dog, we use the before using word dog as a class. I like to ride the train. Now again, we are not talking about any specific train, we are talking about train as a class of transport, as a class of mode of transport. Same way, you can take the bus to come to my home, and we are not mentioning which bus, but we are just telling out of many modes that you can take the bus, and we are using the word bus as a noun representing a class of transport. I do not know how to play the piano. Again, I am not talking about your piano, his piano, her piano, or which piano. I am just talking about piano as a class, that any piano, I do not know how to play it, and when we are using it in a sense of a class, we use the before it. Now next, look at use of the with adjectives that are representing a class. We use the when we use an adjective to represent a class. Here we say the poor think that the rich are happy. Poor is an adjective, rich is an adjective, but they are being used to represent a whole class, and so we use the poor and the rich. Same way, the brave will enjoy the spoils of the war. Here we use the word brave, which is an adjective, to represent a class of people who are brave, so we will use the brave. Now you can argue that we are using it as a noun because there is no brave people or something after that, and there are sometimes overlap where we can convert a noun into an adjective, and sometimes we can use the words sort of interchangeably, but when we are using it as a class, it's an adjective. So you can learn more about the differences and similarities between nouns and adjectives and how they can be converted to each other from our lectures on nouns and adjectives. But when you use an adjective as a class, we use the before that. Another example, the elderly need special care. Here elderly is a class of people. Still another example, the Japanese are hard working people. Japan is a noun and we have derived the word Japanese, and we are talking about a class of people, that Japanese are hard working people, and we use the before Japanese for that reason, that this adjective is being used as a to represent a class. Now what about use of the with names of newspapers? We use the with names of newspapers, and the examples are the Times, the Washington Post, the Daily Beast. So when we are writing in a sentence or speaking in a sentence, we use the, even though many of these papers do not have the in their name, but when we are talking about them or writing about them in a sentence, we use the. Washington Post, Daily Beast, they don't have. Times has the in its name. So either the newspaper has the in its name, or even otherwise when we are talking about them, then we use the in front of them. What about use of the with works of art? We use the with names of famous arts. Mona Lisa is a very famous painting by an Italian painter. So we say, some say that the Mona Lisa has a crooked nose, like the painting has a nose which is like twisted towards one side. So we use the before Mona Lisa, and we use a capital the because this the is then integrated in the name of that painting or the work of art. Same way, another example, Edvard Munch painted the Scream in 1893. Now the painting's name is Scream, but when we are talking about it, we say the Scream, and this is the correct spelling. Usually Edward is Edward, but this guy who painted this, his name was Edvard Munch. So in front of famous pieces of art, we use the article the. What about names of famous buildings and use of the? We use the with the names of famous buildings, like the Metropolitan Museum is the next stop. Like you are in a bus, on a bus, and ask, okay, where is Metropolitan Museum, and somebody says the Metropolitan Museum is the next stop. Metropolitan Museum is a very famous museum, so we use the before that. Another example, some say that the Taj Mahal was a Hindu temple once. Taj Mahal is a famous building, or you can even consider it as a piece of art or art, so we use the before this one. Another example, constructed over 1,000 years ago, the Qutub Minar was 7 stories high. Qutub Minar is a very tall building in New Delhi. It was built by the last slave emperor of India, Qutbuddin Aibak. So it's a very famous building. Now 5 stories remain, but when it was built, it was 7 floors high. Because it is such a famous building, we use the before Qutub Minar. So any famous building, we use the before the name of that building. Now what about use of the with names of families? We use the before when we use the names as names of families. What do I mean by that? The Bushes are the Gandhis of America. So there is a family called Bushes. There are many people whose name is Bush, and there are many people whose name is Gandhis. So collectively they are called Gandhis, and collectively these are called Bushes, and so we use the before both of them. Bushes ruled America for a long time. Family of Gandhis named Gandhis, people named Gandhis ruled India for a long time. So we can compare them, and we use the before the name of the family. Another example, the Ambanis are a powerhouse for business. Ambanis is the name of a family where many people with the name Ambani are there, last name Ambani are there, so we use them collectively as Ambanis, and we use the before the name of the family. Similarly, there are many people called Johnson. They are a family, so Johnsons will be the name of the family. The Johnsons are very charitable, so we use the before the name of the family. Now what about use of the with names of days, months, years and decades? Do not use the with the names of days, months or number of years. Here are some examples. I will see you on Monday. It's a name of a day, so we don't use the. Everyone loves Sundays, so Sunday is a name. Sundays is a noun representing all Sundays, but we don't use the before the name of the day. It could have been everyone loves June, and again, because June is a month of name of a month, we do not use the before that. What is the exception? The exception is when we are referring to a special day, specific day, month or year in our memory, in our life, in our history, then we can use the before that day. And here are some examples. I remember the September when terror hit very vividly. So we are talking about a special month of September when there was terror, and we remember it very clearly. So this September, we are talking about a specific September, so we will use the before that September. Another example, the Monday that I passed my exam, I can never forget. So we are talking about not any Monday, not every Monday, but one Monday, so we use the Monday. Another example, I got married in the year of the bull. Now year of the bull is a Chinese way of counting years, so we use the year of the bull. We are talking about a specific year. Or we could have also say I got married in the year 1999. So now we are talking about a specific year, so we can use the before the year 1999. When we are talking about decade, we use the before that, and the example is the 5th decade of his life was the best. Here we are talking about a decade. Which decade? 5th, so we use the before that. Another example, during the early 30s. Now we are not talking about the whole decade, we are talking about few years, 4 years or so, 3 to 5 years. Early 30s means 30 to 35. So during the early 30s, the world witnessed the worst depression. Here we are talking about a period in time, so we use the before that. Now what about use of the with names of seasons? We use the with names of seasons, like old people hate the winters, so winters is name of a season, so we use the. The summer is when the sun is the brightest. Again, summer is the name of a season, we use the before that. The fall is round the corner. We always use the with the season's name, fall. So again with the season's name we are using the.